So, greetings, one and all. So, unfortunately, Ajahn Brahmali still coughing quite heavily. Picked up a bug in Singapore, so that may not be so conducive with the class here. So, he's just resting up at the moment. He's got a big tub of ginger, so hopefully that'll make a difference. So, with the preamble, I'm supposed to give a little preamble for about 10-15 minutes. So, with the meditation process, so why do we bother? Why do we bother meditating in the first place? For what? So there's a lot of interesting things in the world, a lot of things to get distracted with, many paths you can take. There's many teachings you can choose. So why do we choose to meditate on a daily basis? So, or maybe even on maybe once a week, or maybe just a couple of retreats a year. So, but one thing you see, which is quite common with people, is when life gets challenging, challenging, maybe a little bit difficult or a bit stressful, there's only one factor really. So, but when you easily, probably 50% of the people who choose to meditate may have some, say, challenging circumstances in life, and possibly the other 50% may be really interested in developing the mind, essentially deep insight, wisdom, an understanding of life and the universe. Developing the, say, could be the Buddhist path, or even the Hindu or Muslim path, even Christian. So every single major tradition has its meditative component, and it depends on your parami, your past life development, which will orientate what direction you move in, because essentially your personal karma is going to essentially affect the direction that you move in. So you may feel, that you are in control of your life, and you make decisions, and you have choices, and this kind of thing. But you do to a degree, but in some parts you don't at all, because your underlying, what would you call it? The whole, you're the sum total of all your past karma. So this life, past lives, especially this life and the last life, is going to have the greatest effect on you, and that will influence the choices you make, decisions you make, the direction you move in life. You can make informed choices, informed decisions, but karma has a very big, big place to play in the direction that you take in life. The people you meet, the friends you have, the family you're born into, and there's very specific, accurate reasons why you are who you are and where you are, and have the parents that you currently have. So these principles are very precise. It's not like hit and miss and airy-fairy. It's very precise, like a laser beam. The parents, that you're born to, brothers and sisters, close friends, your abilities, intellectual abilities, or whatnot. It all comes from past life development. And for anyone who has psychic potential, that will come from essentially from samadhi development. So you can develop psychic ability through, essentially the key principle will be meditations, genuine psychic ability through meditation as a key principle. But people will assert that you can also activate psychic potential with things like qigong, tai chi, different energy systems, and whatnot. So when you're using the focus, when you're focusing the mind, increasing the energy of the mind, because the whole business with samadhi, one point focus, sharp attention, one-pointed attention, as a description of the samadhi state. And then from that, from increasing the power of the mind, the energy of the mind, then you have the ability to extend the mind into different realms. You can move the mind in a way where knowledge becomes manifest to you. You can come to know and see many, many, many different things. So people who have very, very good samadhi, exceptional samadhi, it's like you've got the internet inside your mind, and you can know and see many, many, many things, 1,001 things, but supernormal things, not the mainstream stuff you see on Google or YouTube, but stuff in relation with past lives and deja vu, and what would you call it, psychic healing, the ability to project the mind into different worlds, clairaudience. There's a vast range of psychic potentials coming from samadhi, samadhi as a basis, that focused, powerful mind, energy, the attention's very sharp, energy level's very high, and the hindrances, the underlying defilements of the mind are suppressed. So you have this pure, what would you call it, say a temporarily pure state of mind, and you can do quite a number of things with it. But as one senior Burmese teacher said to one senior Western monk, who's currently, I think he's up in the north of Thailand now. He's no longer a monk, but that particular teacher, he warned him about the destructive, say, nature. So even for people who are able to develop psychic ability through the Payog system, Burmese Payog system, where you're looking at, you're putting in significant effort under, very, very, what would you call it? I wouldn't say absolutely strict instruction, but very clear, articulate instruction, with very, very good teachers with Payog, and the potential for psychic ability may come up with certain people, depending on the quality of their parami. But his attitude was that any psychic potential which comes up, it's more of a distraction than anything, because it's not the true path. The true path is the full purification of mind of the defilements, the realization of deep states of insight, wisdom, and whatnot, till you break through to the path completely. So any underlying psychic potential, if you're not careful, is going to be a hindrance. It's going to distract you. It could essentially lead you down the garden path, and you can waste a lot of time just playing with this stuff, playing with psychic potential, the way people sort of play with their phones for hours on end. It's not quite the same, but it's slightly similar in its nature. But as you all know, people will come to meditation for quite a number of different reasons, and you usually find that the vast majority of people, over time, it could be easily over 3, 6, 12 months, regardless of their intentions and the purpose and whatnot, will definitely get some benefit on some level. There could be many benefits, or there could be a handful of benefits on different levels, according to their own personal preference, their nature, but essentially you can't lose. So every 5 minutes you put into meditation, sort of, what would you call it? Say polishing and brightening the mind, so to speak. It might take you 10 to 20 years, but you can't go wrong. Every single 5 minutes that you put into practice, it all has values. It's like what would you call it? The water barrel. Just water, slowly dripping into the water barrel, over many, many years. But the benefits are very, very significant. So you may feel that your family members will definitely notice, maybe even more quickly than you can see oneself. And when the person leaves this particular life and then moves to the next, then they're going to see the power and the the inertia and the potential of all the practice they've done, all the precepts they've kept for, every day they've made an effort with the precepts. Every day they were able to meditate or do chanting or read a sutta or two. It all has the potential to move you further down the path. Just that little bit more every single day, but you'll see the power of that when you leave this life. And the vast majority of people, anyone who's a practitioner, virtually the vast majority of them, 99% will attain to say higher, the higher worlds, the Devaloka realms. And because of the incredible lifespans, if you're very focused and you maintain your resolve, realistically you could break through from the Devaloka realms without great difficulty. And I've mentioned this multiple times, but got incredible lifespans in the Deva worlds. I think the minimum from memory a long time ago was about 9.7 million years. First Devaloka realm. So you've got the potential easily to break through to the first of the enlightenment stages, if not much further than that, and then bring this whole process of karma and rebirth to an end. Okay, let's see what we're going to do with the meditation. What we'll do is we'll do just a like a gradual focus. Something which is you might find very, very useful, and I do this a lot. Is I do this anicca principle. So when I'm meditating, whether it's walking, sitting, or cleaning around the kuti, walking back and forth, could be going for a walk or whatever. I use this anicca principle, which you can use. You can do it once. You can do it once. Maybe every 5 minutes. You may think this is complete nonsense, but you can do this once every 5 minutes, and you do it 18 hours a day. So you recollect the mantra when you remember. So even if you forget, as soon as you remember, recollect one's mantra, and then you keep that going all your waking hours. Some people think it's complete nonsense. How can you possibly get any mindfulness, any focus, any increasing awareness, peripheral awareness from that? I can do this once every 5 minutes, and I can do it 18 hours a day. I can stop walking and sitting meditation completely for weeks on end, and just do this simple little practice, one mantra every 5 minutes, and I can hold the meditation together to a very, very significant degree. Come back to the monastery, sit meditation. The first meditation is reasonable, and the second one is quite peaceful. You guys would definitely not be dissatisfied. So don't ever underestimate this kind of baby samadhi. Very, very light, but you can work and function at full speed. Your memory's not impaired. Peripheral awareness is not impaired. The mind speed and whatnot is not impaired in any way. So it's very, very useful, very incredibly light practice that you can do all your waking hours, 7 days a week. Because you guys are, many of you guys are working full time. You have families, children, responsibilities, and whatnot. So this very, very light practice, and you contemplate. So in between the mantras, so you do that. You do a mantra roughly one mantra every based on the changeability. So it could be feelings or emotions are changeable, perception, consciousness. Forces, energy, could be goals, ambition, absolutely anything is changeable. So you just choose one little mantra once every couple of minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, all your waking hours, 7 days a week, and within a couple of days you will see it working, and it will sharpen you. It will make you sharper, faster, a bit more intelligent. So there are advantages with this kind of baby samadhi, very, very light samadhi, but you can do your insight, because it sharpens you, increases your peripheral awareness, your internal awareness, that you can contemplate, you can investigate, and come to an understanding of things, both inside the mind and body, and what you see externally in the world. You can increase your wisdom insight, because that's the whole purpose of this practice. Is to everything, the whole, with the 5 precepts, 8 precepts, the monastics rules, and the development of samadhi meditation, development of insight, threefold path, which encompasses the Buddha's eightfold path. Then that wisdom insight is the pinnacle of the pyramid. That's what you're aiming for. Everything, all the foundation principles aimed at developing your wisdom and insight. And when it comes to parami, that's the one which will take you a long, long way. So everything that you do, the wisdom and insight, and especially that changeability principle, the Buddha said over and over and over again, and the forest masters say exactly the same thing repeatedly, the contemplation of anicca, dukkha, anatta. So what would you call it? Say unsatisfactoriness. You can contemplate it when things come up, when it's absolutely obvious. Changeability is very, very easy to work with. I find it quite positive. I don't feel any real negativity with it, hardly at all. Emptiness, you've got to be a bit careful, because you can get a bit lightheaded. What would you call it? A little bit too spaced out. You've got to be careful with this kind of thing, because you walk. You could walk across the road in front of a car. It's just you do that kind of stuff all the time. That emptiness principle. And you could make mistakes, and you could have accidents, this kind of thing. So, but changeability keeps you aware, sharp, changing phenomena inside the mind and body, changing phenomena around you. So you're not going to walk across the road in front of a truck. You're not going to do really, really silly, dangerous things with this kind of baby samadhi. It keeps you sharp, keeps you aware to a degree. Anyway, so what we'll do is, if everyone. They just get themselves into a comfortable posture. Make sure the back is straight, head is upright and comfortable, nothing tight around the throat, wrists or the tummy. Make sure you can breathe fully into the chest section. It's always good to put the best position always is to have the hands together. The best meditation will usually be with hands together and the ankles crossed, or the feet, or just the feet touching, because you're forming a circuit. The body's forming a circuit when it comes to chi, when it comes to samadhi. And maybe for the first, let's see now, maybe. So roughly about maybe the first, say, we're going to do at least 3/4 of an hour. Okay, so we'll do maybe say 15 minutes on the tummy section. That'll help ground you, and then we'll go to this very sharp focus around the feelings around the mouth. It's a lot of nerve endings. It's very, very distinct. Some people can't go to the nose tip. This kind of laser beam focus is just too sharp. So they go. If you go around the mouth section, you can. It's quite a good focus, but you can feel it constantly. The sensations are quite sharp. But if you're able to, what I would recommend you do is you start with that anicca principle. So focusing on the tummy, expanding, contracting. But you add that in the beginning. You add that changeability mantra. If you want to see good results fairly quickly, now you don't want to be sitting for 30 minutes, an hour, even before you start to see any decent practice. It's good to get it rolling quite early. So that anicca principle, the changeability principle, you can choose something like, it can be anything, but things like feelings are changeable. That's tangible. Feelings are changeable. That's tangible with most people. So focusing on the tummy, and then as you breathing out, feelings, and then breathe in, then breathe out, are changeable. Breathing in, breathing out, feelings, breathing in, breathing out, are changeable. But you can do any mantra that you want, but that one's tangible. Most people can relate to that easily. And then focus on the tummy section, and we'll do that for 15 minutes, and then we'll do 30 minutes on focusing on the mouth. section, which is with the same principle, was a little bit sharper. So please make a start. So as you focus on the abdomen, the tummy section, just follow the feelings. Look at the feelings. Meditation's a feely practice. So watch the feelings as the as the abdomen rises and falls with your changeability mantra together as you choose. if you find that you're still thinking excessively, that your thought processes are essentially driven by one's emotions. So you need, in order to stop a particular, say, line of thinking, maybe you say like an attachment, an experience, could be anything with family, work, the past, when you were young, with mum and dad, and this thing keeps persisting. It's all part of your karma, keeps persisting. You need to understand everything about that experience. So, say for example, maybe you had differences with your boss, and it keeps persisting for days, weeks on end. It's in the meditation every single day you practice. The reason why it persists is because it's not like fully or mainly or almost fully understood. So what happens is it keeps circling, it keeps coming back to you, keeps knocking on the door of the mind, knocking on the door. I've come back to you. I'm here again. You haven't. What's the word? You haven't examined me. You haven't looked into this. You haven't come to an understanding of a particular experience, and it keeps returning to you. So this is the test. If you have a particular experience and it doesn't stop, it keeps coming back again and again and again, 101 times, 1,001 times, it means this experience is telling you it has not been understood. You haven't examined it thoroughly. You haven't examined it from multiple angles. It's still unresolved. It's still not complete, not completed, and there's still residue left. This is the test. This is the test of insight. So if not to underestimate people's experiences, because they can be very, very intense, very heavy, very serious. But this is the test for every single one of us, including the monastics, the long-term lay disciples, beginner meditators. If you can't let something go, that means that your insight and understanding into that experience is not, what would you call it, fully understood. It's not, you haven't, there's something which is hidden from you. You haven't seen it completely. There's something which is still lurking under the surface, something, remaining, unresolved. Now this is a test. If you've got something happening, you could have had a breakup. Breakups are very, very, very heavy experiences with multiple. It could be a dozen feelings. Could be 15, 20 emotions connected with someone you break up with. But in essence, that if you can't let that person go over 3, 6, 12 months, it means that the experience is not fully understood. You have not examined every possible angle, every possible feeling. And this will be completely obvious to you. If it keeps persisting, it has not been fully understood. Because as soon as it's understood, you have to constantly teach yourself over and over and over again, 10,000 times, 10,001, with the development of this path. So you go back and forth. If you want to accelerate this, every 5 minutes you go back and forth between samadhi, peaceful meditation, and insight, knowledge. Develop your understanding, your insight. So if there's anything persisting in the mind, you've got to look at that and examine that thoroughly from every possible angle. And then do it repeatedly, and back and forth every 5 minutes. Look at something, examine it, back to samadhi. The energy increases, the sharpness of the meditation increases, improves. Then 5 minutes for peaceful meditation, and then at least 30 seconds of insight, and then back and forth. I do this all the time, constantly. This is what gets you results. You don't want to be sitting 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, wasting. Samadhi is useful, but the whole purpose of samadhi is to bring you insight. That's the high purpose of this path. But anyway, just put it to the test and see what you think. Okay, we're going to sharpen our focus now. So I want you to focus on the feelings around the mouth. So we're going to focus on the feelings around the mouth, which is very clear, quite sharp. And then keep doing that mantra, that changeability mantra, the mantra of your choice, in a very, very comfortable, spacious way, with the breathing as you choose. It has to suit you, and we'll do that for the remainder of the session. So we're coming towards the end of the session. So just look back, reflect back, and see what makes a difference for you. What what skillful means approach you use, which helps you to get say reasonable results when you sit meditation. So I'll ring the gong 3 times. You can open your eyes when you're ready. So if any of you guys got any questions at all with meditation or anything else, please take the floor.
Ajahn, why is it that monks can meditate very strongly and get a good practice, and they can have an understanding in past lives? Why is it that generally ordinary people just don't get to find out about past lives, because it just doesn't come up?
The main thing which will the only reason why the monastics or long-term lay disciples, say in community settings, can get access to say psychopotential recollection of past lives, the bottom line, it comes down to samadhi power. So the ability to still the mind. Really, we're talking about quite deep, profound meditation. The what would you call it? The underlying defilements of the mind, the 5 hindrances, all the stuff that we think about, it's got to come to an end. It's got to stop completely. So, to be absolutely specific, the mind has got to be still, no thinking at all. The mind is one-pointed, sharp, bright. Some people, the mind can be incredibly bright with light, much brighter than the sun. It's a different kind of light, the way they explain it. But when you stop the mind thinking, and you stop normal human emotions, and the mind is still, then that mind, which has energy, has power, has the ability. You've got the way one of the forest masters explained it, is your mind is like a computer, and you can just go back till the day when you're a child. You can go back into at the point of conception to your last life, the one before. The Buddha supposedly could recollect 84? Let me get this right. There were multiple expansions and contractions of the universe. It might have been 84. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't checked it for a while. But the power of the Buddha's mind was such that he could go back to 84 eons, expansions and contractions of the universe, which shows you what the potential is. But for mainstream disciples, say like roughly in the current age, within the last 50, 100 years, that you've got the minimum level is upachara samadhi. The hindrances have got to be suppressed. The mind has got to be still, absolutely still. No thoughts at all. No normal human emotions at all. The mind is one. It's solid like a rock. There's none of this like. I can't say things like, oh, I was one pointed, but I'm still aware of the five senses. That's not the case at all. You're deep in the mind. Your attention is unified inside the mind. There is no five sense input externally from the world at all. There is only the mind. There is only one element, major element, and that's the difference.
So the practitioner having achieved jhanas, that could be that they would come to understand.
You got the potential for it. So if you got that, even Upachara Samadhi, there's enough energy, there's enough sharpness, there's enough power of the mind to go back into past lives. The potential's there. But that's that same principle. You've the jhanas, Upachara, definitely jhanas. There's enough power in the first jhana to take you all the way through to the fourth enlightenment stage, the full purification of mind. So the jhanas are crucial. People will argue you can't realize the path without them. Some forest masters say you need Upachara Samadhi might be the minimum, but that's not what the Buddha said. The Buddha said full Samadhi, which is the jhana levels. But the thing is that if you have that potential, because people, whether it's monastic or lay disciple, people have different potentials. They have different parami, past life development. So you may get a lay disciple who's a young person and has got pronounced psychic ability in different areas, but they just didn't get lucky or whatnot. They worked. They would, to get that level of ability. You've got to be meditating at least probably 30 years. I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years. I don't have psychic ability, so you're looking at easily probably maybe 2 lifetimes to get that. To get multiple abilities in different areas. You may not be able to go back 10 lifetimes or 5 lifetimes. You can recollect the last one, maybe the one before that. You might be able to go back 1 or 2. But the whole purpose of that, the whole purpose of the psychic ability, is to bring you insight. That's what you're using the samadhi for. That's what will free you. Because the thing is, you can have incredible samadhi for lifetimes, 2, 3 lifetimes. It will not get you enlightened. If you don't apply insight, you don't develop your understanding of mind and body, the world around you, life and the universe. You can just go on for lifetimes with that level of incredibly deep, profound samadhi. But the whole purpose of the samadhi is to bring you insight. There's been a handful of monks, top class meditators in Thailand, where they got stuck in that samadhi for years, maybe even 5 years, 10 years, and because you've got mastery of it, and your mind is pure, bright. It's absolutely it's pure as the driven snow. People will look at you like you're a saint. You walk and talk like a saint. You've got a degree of insight knowledge. You just look and sound fantastic. 24 hours a day. But even people in Thailand, there've been monks, mainly monks in Thailand, and possibly even nuns, who get caught in the samadhi trap even for 5 years, 10 years. So, a meditation master will see through that. He will see that the work is not complete. He will see that this person is stuck. They're just, that same thing, getting caught in the bliss, the incredible peace. You can get psychic potential coming from that, but you can still get stuck in that. It still can be a trap, and you have to use that profound meditation. It's, the whole purpose of the samadhi is to get you insight, deep understanding, and get you enlightened. That's the purpose.
There's no method in it.
So the what?
There's no method in what I'm about to say, but it's quite well known that people who are of unstable mind get psychic understanding.
Oh, not really. I worked in mental health, and I've met many dozens of people with schizophrenia, manic depressive, all sorts of psychological disturbances. If you can prove, not just to me, but if you can prove to anyone in this room, you can prove to your friends. Like you might be unbalanced and unstable, and you can say, I hear and see many things, all different experiences. You can describe them in full detail, in colour, full detail. But if you can't prove these things, if you tell me or you tell anyone else in this room that you've got abilities, that you've got knowledge, you've got profound knowledge, I can see things, I can hear things, retrocognition, déjà vu, clairaudience, all sorts of amazing, interesting stuff. If you can't prove this at all, you're a fake. If you are so incredible, you can prove this to other people, not just to me. I can see through this stuff very quick. But if you can't prove to your friends here, close friends or Dharma practitioners, what you know and see, then essentially you're faking it. Sorry? One of the deceit. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a big one. That will basically finish you completely. If you've got full intention, you intentionally lie, that will finish you.
You mentioned earlier that if there's an issue or something that keeps coming up in your mind for over and over again, that you need to come to a place of understanding of that thing in order to get past it. How can you come to that understanding?
Yeah, so for example, say anything which is significant in one's life, and that thing is, it could be quite, very, very important to you. It could be, something which is close to your heart, this and that. It could be family, children, this and that. But you go to sit meditation, it just keeps coming up 101, 1,001 times. The reason is because it hasn't been explored. So your personal experience is at the center, and what you need to do is you go 360 degrees. You examine that experience from every possible angle. And you may have to do this 25, 50, 100 times over the course of a month, 1, 2, 3 years before this thing will stop. Because this is, as I mentioned, this is the test. If you have something, and it could be a close connection with your child. These things are not to be underestimated, because you've got very, very tight karma with the people who are close to you. But if you can't let go of mum or dad or one's children, could be anything at all, could be anything of great significance. But if you can't let that thing go, it means you have not fully understood it. There's things which are still hidden from you, things that you may not necessarily have understood at this point in time. Because the karma that you have with other people, it's incredibly complex. You could, say for example, you come into a family, and you could easily have you could easily have 15, 20, 30 major principles in relation with mum and dad, which draws you to your specific parents that you have now. You can have siblings; they've got different karma to you. They're drawn to the same parent, but it's a different ball game. But the bottom line is, without distracting, you need to understand emotionally exactly what you're going through. So in a nutshell, like why do the emotions are key. Don't think, well, I think like this and I think like that. You go to the emotion because that's what's driving your thinking process. That's the energy. That's what you need. That's the key. So feelings, emotions, they drive the whole course of a human being's life, or any being in the universe, say. And then you explore. You have that experience, and you explore it completely from multiple perspectives, and then you drop it for maybe 5 minutes, and then you go back to the peaceful meditation for 5 minutes, and then go back to the experience again. And then you explore it for 30 seconds or maybe a minute, back to the peaceful meditation, and then back to the experience. And you may have to do this 100 times, or more.
You mean like when you go back to it, like use the feeling of it as your...
Yeah, emotionally you've got to understand why. This is in essence, why do I feel this way about my child or about my dad, about my boss at work? It's the emotion. This is the energy driving this experience. Why do I feel this way? And there could be a dozen feelings. There could be a dozen feelings between you, dad, your child, your boss, and you take one feeling at a time, and you need to understand everything about that feeling. And then you take the second feeling connected with that person, and you understand everything about it. Third, fourth, fifth emotion. So without getting overly complex, that's the way you approach it. And you'll get better, you'll get faster, sharper, and your awareness will increase. And some people can have difficult stuff they're working with, but when they develop their skills with problem solving or stuff which is very, very close to you, you just can't let it go. You go through a divorce, and you just still can't let that person go, even though it's painful, a lot of painful emotion. You take one emotion at a time, understand everything about that feeling, and then move to the second feeling, then the third feeling. There could be a dozen feelings connected with this person, and then you go right through it, and so you've taken it to its limit. You've exhausted it. I can't think and reflect any more about this thing, and then you just drop it, and then you go back to the peaceful meditation for at least 5 minutes, maybe even 10. It all depends what suits your soul, and then you go back to the personal experience. But it could take a full 12 months, easy. It could take 12 months or even 2 years before you can let this stuff go, because you've got lifetimes of karma with these people, all your family, all your close friends. You've been with these guys for multiple lifetimes. This is why you just can't drop them. You just can't let them go so easily. Okay, I think we'll call it an afternoon. We'll catch up with you guys later.